Hello, everybody. Uh, my name is Mahyar, and today is our first lab meeting. Online meeting. So, in these lectures, I'm going to teach you how to work with one of the most popular softwares in the field of linguistics and psychology, which is PsychoPy. Of course, we are dealing with the latest version, which is PsychoPy 3. Uh, Actually, uh, it's nice to know the differences between the versions. So previously in PsychoPy 2, uh, you had to invite participants to your lab, and then they had to sit by your computer or laptop and do your research. But in PsychoPy 3, there is an opportunity for participants to do your research study at home. That is, they don't need to come to your lab in order to do this study. And because of this pandemic, PsychoPy gives us this ability to collect data from participants who are even miles away from our lab. But for the purpose of this term, I'm going to focus on the online data collection. Actually, I will focus on offline data collection. The method that participants have to come to your lab, but the codes and the methods are not very different from the new version of PsychoPy. So let's start. All right, so in this presentation, first of all, I'm going to tell you why we need PsychoPy, and then we will explain how to install that. We discuss different components of PsychoPy, and then we simply explain how to display a piece of text on the screen, and then how to get input from participants, and finally, what do we mean by a routine. First of all, I should say that PsychoPy is a Python-based software, um, but I should mention that to work with PsychoPy, you don't need to know Python at all. Of course, if you need Python, it comes handy whenever you come across a problem. You can modify the codes, you can add or delete some codes. But honestly speaking, most of the time when you are working with PsychoPy, you don't need any knowledge of Python. And this software is good for collecting different sorts of data, which are specifically used for linguistic and psychological research. For example, imagine that you want to see how fast participants react to a set of stimuli. For example, you show them some words or some pictures or even audio files, and you want to measure their reaction time. So this software helps you to measure the reaction time. Or also when you want to see how fast they read a sentence or part of a sentence, or even how fast they respond to a question, or which option they choose to respond to a specific question, and whether they have answered the question correctly or not, and most importantly, how fast they uh, have chosen the answer. So these are only some examples of contexts where you can use PsychoPy to address your research questions. All right, so how to install PsychoPy? So it's very easy actually. So let's go to the official website of PsychoPy, psychopy.org. So on the top right corner you have install icon, so you click on this icon, and then based on the operating system on your machine, it suggests whether you need to install PsychoPy version for Windows, or if you are using MacBook, um, it suggests you download the version for MacBooks. So if you click on this blue icon, it is automatically downloaded onto your machine, and then when you open the software, it actually it opens two main windows. Actually, the coder window and builder window. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you close this window, or it might not appear when you open the PsychoPy. So if you don't have builder view window, you can go to view option on the top bar, and then you can choose go to builder view, and then the builder view window will appear on the screen. So we develop our program in builder view window, so it's important for us to have builder view window in our PsychoPy. And as you can see, it has different sections. So we have trial section, we have components section on the right, and then we have flow section on the below part on the bottom. So each of which I will explain the functions and how we can work with them. All right, so let's continue. One of the things that I forgot to mention is that you should never update your PsychoPy to recent version, that is in the middle of collecting data. Because if you update your PsychoPy version, your program, your experiment might not run properly in the new version. So let data collection finish, and then update your PsychoPy version to the most recent one. Yeah, so that was the point that I was going to mention. So as I said, we have the first impression of the PsychoPy, builder view version and code view version, code window version. And then if you don't have the builder view window, you can choose it from the view option on the top bar. And then yeah, so let's start with programming a very simple experiment. So imagine that you want to show a piece of text or a piece of instruction for a test for participants to read, and then they should press spacebar to continue, and then they should read a question on the screen, and they should answer the question. I mean, they should press one key on the keyboard to answer the question. That is simple multiple choice question. So let's see how we can make this experiment. So let's come back to PsychoPy builder view window. So whenever you want PsychoPy to show you a piece of text on the screen, you come to the text icon in the component section to your right. If you click on it, a new window opens. So it asks you to name this activity. So let's name it instruction. So in next part, it says start. So this means that when do you want PsychoPy to show this piece of text, whether from the very beginning or maybe after some specific time. So sometimes you might need to show the text after some time. So if that's the case, you can put a value here, for example, after 2 seconds or after 4 seconds. But in our case, because we want to uh, show the text from the very beginning, let's leave it blank or put 0 here. And what about the stop? Stop means that, again, uh, you can set it to time. You can give it a time. For example, after 3 seconds or after 5 seconds, the instruction will disappear. But in our case, because we want to say that, okay, whenever participants press space, the text should disappear, it means that we are putting a condition, we are defining a condition. That's why you should choose condition from the options, and then we will define conditions later on. So this means that, okay, show the text from the very beginning, and then whenever participants fulfill this condition, then the text should disappear. And then you can choose the color. So for a setup, for a list of color labels, you can refer to the website address that I have included in the PowerPoint. And then you can also change the font types. This letter height means how big the fonts should be. And then by position, we mean the coordinates of the text on the screen. So 0, 0 means center of the screen, and then you can change it to negative or positive value. For example, -1, +1, it means that the x-axis is negative and the y-axis is positive, or it means that the top left quadrant of your monitor, or if I say +1, -1, it means that the x-axis is positive and then the y-axis is negative, or the let's say the right low quadrant of the monitor. But let's leave it to center of the screen or 0, 0. And then in the text box, you can type whatever you want to display. For example, hello, thank you for your participation, for example. And then please press space to proceed. Okay, and then let me explain what options we have on the right sections: constant, set every repeat, or set every frame. For now, let them be on the constant mode. And then let's click on OK. Now our program is showing a piece of text on the screen. Now we want to take input from participants. So whenever participants should press a button on the keyboard, so we should define it for PsychoPy. So on the right section, we have a keyboard icon. If you click on it, a new window opens. Again, first you should name this activity. So let's say instruction, for example, key. So the names should be unique because we had already selected instruction for previous activity. You cannot name this activity again instruction. You should choose a new name. Let's call it instruction key, and then again start from the very beginning. As soon as the text appears on the screen, they can press spacebar to continue. But sometimes you might need to give a value here. For example, after 5 or 6 seconds, they can press the spacebar. And then for the stop, again, we put it on the condition. So this force end of routine means that as soon as they press the button, the activity should end. That is, the text should disappear, and then it should go to next activity. Let's click this because that's something that we need. As soon as they press spacebar, it should go to the question. And then what keys should be allowed? You can specify them here because we said they should press spacebar. Let's type space here. It should be within single quotations. And then it stores the last key they presses, but sometimes you might need to store the first key they are pressing, or maybe all the keys they press, or maybe nothing. For our case, we might not need to store this key, so let's put it on nothing. And then this store correct option also is not applicable here, because sometimes they are answering a question that which we will see. So when they are answering a question, there is a correct or incorrect option. Then you can click this option and you can say that which option is correct, which answer is correct, and then the program will compare their answer with the correct answer. And let's leave the rest of the options as they are. So click on the OK option. So as you can see, our program is showing let's say a piece of text or instruction. Participants press spacebar on the keyboard, and then it should show the let's say question. On the bottom part of the PsychoPy, which is called flow section, you have some pink boxes which are called routine. So as you can see, each routine consists of a set of activities. So our first routine consisted of a piece of text on the screen and then participants pressing the space bar. So let's rename it. To do so, you right click on the pink box and you rename it, for example, to instruction 1. All right. And now in the next section, we are going to show a question. So this is something that we will discuss in the next lecture, next video. Let's first review if we have missed anything. Yeah, so here yeah, something that I forgot to mention is that PsychoPy does not like space. So when you are giving your routines a name, please do not leave a space. For example, here, if I want to use space between instruction and the key, it says that name must be alphanumeric, no spaces. So let's remove the space here. So that is very important point, because sometimes you leave a space and the program doesn't run and you don't know what to do. So that's the point you should pay attention to. Yeah, and then we discussed all of these. Yeah, defining condition, and then yeah, renaming the routine. So in the next lecture, we will learn how to add a question to our program.